What to Play presents the top 10 new Android horror games arranged by PlayScore. The PlayScore is an average of gamer and critic ratings, and when a game only reaches the minimum requirement of critic or gamer reviews, it receives a provisional PlayScore. Number 10, Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle. Just because this game might not exactly send tingles down your spine, it does not mean it's not perfect for Halloween. Friday the 13th is a puzzle that's practically built on it, putting slasher icon Jason Voorhees in center stage. And throughout this killer puzzle, you'll be challenged to recreate all his horrific escapades in grid-based fashion, so you can go around the camp and strategically move throughout each level to carefully eliminate each victim the way Mama told you to. And while they're as dumb as any horror movie victim there'll be plenty of obstacles in your way, making it a challenging yet ultimately rewarding exercise. It's not quite the gory scarefest that the movie was, especially not with the game's blocky voxel visuals. But what Friday the 13th does though is it perfectly parodies all the horror tropes that we spooky Halloween lovers have come to love. It has a provisional play score of 8.4. Moving on to number 9, Granny Chapter 2. Now, this is a true blue horror title, a sequel to a pretty successful survival horror that you better watch your back because Granny's got her ears on you. And this time, she's got company. It might have been difficult enough to escape from their semi-blind geriatric in the first game, but in Chapter 2, we'll have to face the hard of hearing, but hard-hitting Grandpa 2. The object of the game remains the same. You have 5 days to escape the house, and each day is rife with danger. So get ready and hide in wardrobes or sneak under the beds, but your safety is never certain until you get out. This second chapter comes with an all-new house to explore, as well as some minor improvements on the graphics. It's still the same dull and bleak visuals, but I know for mobile horror fans, it's got everything you could hope for in a sequel. But just make sure they don't find you. It has a provisional play score of 8.6. Number 8, The Coma Cutting Class. From murderous relatives to in-the-middle-of-nowhere cabins, we come back to civilization with a high school horror from Dodam Games. The Coma isn't just a horror game though, it is also a survival adventure, which means there's a huge focus on story and resource management. As Young-ho trapped in the corridors of Seiwa High, you must escape the hands of a psychotic killer by managing your backpack space and listening closely for footsteps. And just to make things interesting, you'll also have to think about your stamina to run away from the murderer on the loose. And while this game was originally a PC title, the Coma has been fully optimized for the mobile. The controls are fairly easy and intuitive, which comes handy when planning for your escape route. And for a seemingly simple horror title, the Coma beautifully shows off its Silent Hill inspirations in its story, both in sounds and atmosphere, earning it a score of 8.61. 7, FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. Now this isn't exactly what anyone expected for the 6th main installment of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. On the other hand, you'd be mistaken to expect anything less than pants-shitting terrors from this series. And no, this game is not what it seems. At face value, FNAF 6 merely wants you at the helm of a new Freddy's branch, and along with it comes a few challenges in managing the branch which you can achieve through the game's many exciting minigames. But, of course, as you'd expect, between these ordinary activities, the chills just sneak through, replacing the bright and sunny with the darkness that we all love. As we all know, FNAF 6 is a port from the PC, and as such, it's been a seamless transition. It doesn't just look great on the mobile, its controls also flow pretty well too. Although there might be some bugs here and there, it doesn't do much to dull the horrifying scenes to come. FNAF receives a provisional play score of 8.79. Number 6, we have Bendy and the Ink Machine. If you thought those weird cartoons from the early 1900s were scary, wait till you see them in action. It was one of the breakout hits of 2018, and it has since gained cult following on the PC, consoles, and the Android too. Bendy and the Ink Machine basically is a horror puzzle adventure where you follow a cartoonist who finds the cartoons of old turned into nightmarish monsters by the eponymous Ink Machine. Bendy's best feature has always been its presentation. It capitalizes on the inherent creepiness of old cartoons, and it marries that well with haunting sepia undertones. And it may not have had the best performance on the mobile, but developers have been hard at work to fix it with constant updates to deliver the best experience yet. Raking that growing success on the mobile though, it gets a well-deserved provisional rating of 8.8. Entering our top 5, rest in pieces. If there's one word you can use to describe mobile games, it's simple. And that's exactly what you can expect from Rest in Pieces. At its core, Rest in Pieces is perhaps just another endless runner game among a massive number on the mobile. However, its flavor of monochrome madness is just the twist it needs to distinguish it from all the rest. All you have to do is swing around a porcelain doll from side to side and avoid any obstacle that comes your way. But as simple as this mechanism is, Rest in Pieces spices it up with the pressures of awakening poor souls from a terrifying dream or vanquishing evil clowns. And for fans of the rhythm violence in Jules Thumper, this might feel very familiar, and it works pretty well for this game's creepy haunted house environment. With presentations that are on the mark, Rest in Pieces is dreadfully distinct, with a provisional play score of 8.8. Number 4, Case Animatronics Horror Game. Okay, sure, dolls are scary, but there's just something about towering, clanky metal animatronics that can make your blood curdle. We had it at Five Nights at Freddy's, and now we have it in Case 2. For fans of the FNAF series though, Case levels up the animatronic horror by having given players freedom of movement in a haunted environment. Unfortunately, that freedom goes for the animatronics too. So using just a tablet, watch the security cameras closely and look out for the movements of the murderous metal men who are also equipped with strange abilities. The night is long and tensions continue to rise in this one, so the only way to survive is to hide and sneak your way to safety. As a port to the mobile, Case Animatronics has not had the smoothest transition, but with a combination of the mechanics from Outlast and Five Nights, it definitely has a whole load of interesting ideas to offer, and it has a provisional play score of 8.8. Placing third on our list, Death Park Horror Clown's Scary Escape Game. With Stephen King's It making blockbuster comebacks recently, this next game capitalizes on the growing love for murderous clowns. Judging from the title, Death Park Horror Clown's Scary Escape Game, it's definitely not it, but they do have a clown and it's also out for blood. So out on the grimy yellow halls of the so-called Death Park, a madman is on the loose, and you need to find a way out. And unlike your run-of-the-mill monster game, getting out of Death Park will require you to use some smarts. Collect items along the way and solve the puzzles you face amid its hospital halls, basements, and dizzying mazes. I hope this horror game doesn't turn you into its next victim. It has a provisional play score of 8.98. Placing number 2, we have Detention. One of the most harrowing indie horror titles on its release, Detention has successfully been haunting the PC. And just last December, the Taiwanese production took a bold step by spreading the horrors to the mobile hemisphere. In Detention, you're told the tale of 2 students trapped in the halls of their high school just right after traumatic events of Taiwan's martial law period. And on the Android, it's free to play, which means it's only going to offer you a sneak peek into the game's spine-tingling sensations, and you might have to shell out for the complete experience. Beautifully anchoring on the real-life events of the era and creating a well-crafted atmosphere, Detention has everything that could make for a compelling horror story, and earning a rating of 9.0 is well worth the investment. Now banking that coveted number 1 spot on our list is Distraint Deluxe Edition. When it comes to bringing the most premium horror experience to the mobile, no one has done it quite like Distraint. It's a game from talented developer Jesse McConan, and it's made a name for itself by balancing 2D side-scrolling aesthetics with truly haunting images and sounds. Distraint basically puts you in the shoes of Jonathan Price, who has a task of seizing an elderly woman's property in exchange for a partnership in a famous company. And I know it sounds easy enough, but he'll eventually learn that his ambitions will come at a very steep price. And even with the game's restricting format, Distraint is fully loaded with scares, and you'll progress the main character's hopes and possible demise, and all of that is packed in its very short runtime of just 2 hours. And with this deluxe edition, the experience has been leveled up with dynamic colors, enhanced lighting, and even scarier animations. A true powerhouse in mobile horror, it gets a provisional play score of 9.38.